Good morning, it's Karen from Simply Living for Him. It has been quite a while since I have been on the devotionals. It's actually early in the morning, so it's kind of dark in here, but I wanted to get this devotional out there because I know it has been quite a while. Life has just been life, you know how it goes. But I wanted to share with you something today that we studied actually last week at our homeschool, and it just awed me, and I want you to be in awe of God today. So it says here in Isaiah, this is a very familiar verse, Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31, or actually, sorry, let's back up, verse 30 and 31. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. So in our homeschool, we are studying birds right now. I've kind of put together this giant unit study for this year based on plants and animals of the Bible. And we're starting with birds and looking at all the birds in the Bible and just doing this huge study on birds, and it's been amazing. So one of the days last week, we were looking at the eagle. So of course, we were looking at verses in the Bible that talk about an eagle, and then we were studying all about eagles and all of that. We came upon this verse, and there were so many things in this verse that we learned about the eagle, and that you realize that the Lord, He does nothing like haphazardly. Like the pictures that He uses, the specific bird in this verse that He uses, like there's such a reason behind it. So we learned a lot of things about eagles. And one of those things is that, you know how they soar. Most of us realize that an eagle does not flap its wings when it is flying in the air. And the reason it doesn't, this is so great, the reason it doesn't flap its wings, they are much too large. So an eagle has an enormous wingspan, right? We're not talking about like a little sparrow or a robin here. We're talking about an eagle who has a gigantic wingspan. And when they need to take off for flight, they will stand on a cliff or a high up place, and they wait for the wind stream to come that will catch them and that they will be able to soar. And sometimes they have to wait a really long time for that wind stream. Now, if they flap their wings, they're actually protecting themselves because they will use up too much energy because their wings are so big. It can actually be dangerous to the eagle. If the eagle tries to I can say it like this, fly on its own. And so it waits patiently for this wind stream to come, where it knows that it can then take off and it can soar when that wind comes up under its wings, and it helps it to soar up. Some of these eagles fly so high in the sky. And a couple things I wanted to point out there about it needs to be patient. It said sometimes these eagles will have to wait like hours, up to a day, even for the proper wind. So there's this great patience knowing that it has to do what it's created to do. It doesn't try to flap its wings and get ahead of itself. It waits for the proper wind. Now, the really cool thing is at the same time that I'm studying birds with my boys, I'm studying the Holy Spirit with my Bible study ladies. We're studying the book of Acts. And the Holy Spirit is often talked about or, mentioned as, like this wind. We don't see the wind, but we see the effects of it, right? We don't see wind when we look out our windows. Like we just had a huge storm this past, day. Yesterday was so windy here, but I couldn't actually see wind and say, oh, there goes the wind, it's going by. But I see the consequences. I see the effects of the wind. The effects of the wind. I see the trees blowing. Sometimes I see leaves down on the ground. I can see the effects of the wind. We don't see the Holy Spirit in our lives, but we see the evidence of it working in our lives. We have the fruits of the Spirit, are evidences of the Spirit working in our lives. Some of the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control. And so those are evidence of the Spirit working in us. And we don't ever try to work apart from the Spirit. We don't get ahead of the Spirit. We wait for the Spirit, and the Spirit works in us, and then we see evidences of that. So I thought that was really cool about that the wind, that we don't see it, but it is what helps the eagle to soar. And we don't see the Holy Spirit, but it is what helps us to soar. And if we try to do things on our own apart from the Spirit, it's not where we want to be. It's dangerous for us, just like the eagle. If the eagle tries to fly without the wind, it is going to be dangerous and detrimental to the eagle. So I thought those things were just so cool. There were many other aspects of the eagle that we learned, and I'll probably share those with you on another, I'll keep this one short. I'll share those with you on another devotional. But today I wanted to remind you, just like it says here in Isaiah, that even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. Some of the verses, translations say those who wait on the Lord. So there's aspect of having hope and being patient. Just like that eagle waits for the proper wind, we wait for the Spirit to work in us. Then it says they will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. So it's just like us. We wait for the Spirit. The Spirit is the one that acts in us. We are patient. We surrender to the Lord. And then He comes in and He gives us the ability to soar. And we don't get weary, right? God and His Spirit gives us the power and the strength to do whatever we do. We do not act on our own. And if we could surrender and be like that eagle and knows that we have to wait for that Holy Spirit to come, we will soar on wings like eagles. We will run and not grow weary. We will walk and not be faint. So I hope this encourages you today. If it does, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know. Hopefully I will be back with the next devotional on Friday. As I told you guys, my life was a little bit in transition lately. I thought I was on a good schedule, but then I went away last weekend to minister at a ladies' retreat, and I was gone for 3 days. So things got a little backed up, but I'm here today. Hopefully we'll be back on Friday. Hopefully we'll have a new podcast episode out for you guys, and I will see you soon. Until the next time, I wish you all the blessings and joy in Jesus today.